Happy Whinypaluza Wednesday.
Hello, everyone.
My first year as a college mom is complete. Seth and I completed our first year as college parents. So I had started taking notes on lessons that I learned over the year, and I'm not going to get to all of them. And I did my best to write about some of them. You can read the full blog at whinypaluza.com every week. And I did not show this to Max yet, and I did not get Max's feedback yet, but Seth read it, and hopefully maybe possibly we'll have 2 cents to add throughout this today. So let's start with what have I learned? And the first one that I started with is something that Seth and I have talked about recently, so it was fresh in my mind. And that is that what I want for Max is not always what Max wants for Max. Seth agrees. So do you want to say anything?
Yes, we have had to learn this lesson repeatedly throughout his years, going all the way back to his switching sports from soccer to football to his college experience. So
if you are watching this, I would love for someone to join us and tell us if you can hear Seth. I would love to text someone and let them tell us if you join us. Let us know if you can hear Seth. Why is the sound so bad?
I am not having any issues on my end.
So you can hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. So I had my idea of what college looks like. Now, mind you, I already did college. I already did my college. I already did my experience. This is Max's turn. I have to let Max do college how Max wants to do college. I have had to tell him to take breaks from studying. I have had to tell him to go make sure he's drinking water, make sure he's going and getting his meals, and make sure he's getting enough sleep. As much as I want this to be Max's experience and I want him to go do what he's going to do, make it his own, I also want him to take care of himself in the process. And I think that I personally think he studied too much. What do you think, Seth?
He did study a lot, but he would say he didn't study enough.
That's so funny. You know, as I was writing this, I was thinking about how I wanted him to have more fun. And then I thought to myself, he might have thought studying was fun.
And you don't necessarily know that you would have been happy with all of his fun choices.
That's true. That is very true. Yes. And as you join us, I am very red. I went for a walk. I was freezing, so I don't know why I'm red, but I'm red. So maybe it's windburn.
Or it was sunny.
I think it was pretty dreary out today.
Okay.
Okay. One of my biggest lessons that I learned is that you don't have to be physically present to be present and supportive, which I didn't know before this year. So if you have students who have gone away to college, please chime in your 2 cents of what you learned or advice or what you agree with or what you disagree with. And if you don't have kids in college yet and you have questions, ask us your questions. If we can't answer them, another parent will chime in with their answer. So we have people joining us. So as Seth talks, I just want you to tell us if you can hear Seth. So Seth, I need you to say something so that they can answer us.
Yes, I agree that our opinions of what we had expected the college experience to be and what Max's expectations we've discovered were different, and we should probably discuss what all of our expectations are for next year.
I mean, I'll tell him my expectations, but he's going to make it his own, and he doesn't have to listen to me. He has to take care of himself. Like I'm not going to waver on that, but the whole go out and have fun, that's up to him. That's up to him. So I said, you don't have to be physically present to be present and supportive. And this was such a good lesson for me. I was present the whole year. We regularly communicated. FaceTime is my friend. Oh my goodness. When I was having major Max withdrawal and he would get on the phone and I would see his face, it made me so happy. I love FaceTime. I can't tell you enough how regular phone calls help. he would text me and I would get so excited that he texted me. Like we just kept in contact the whole year and I felt like I was present even though we weren't physically in the same house. Did you feel the same way?
It felt much better. FaceTime is definitely better than just an audio phone call. So we are very lucky that our kids are of this age and going to school when we can FaceTime, because you and I didn't have that when we went to college.
Well, and I lived at home, so I didn't need FaceTime.
I didn't have FaceTime with my parents. I was away at school.
My parents got to see my face at dinner every night. So, yes. So I have learned that my family can be loving and supportive even when we're not physically in the same location. And that is such a tremendous, amazing lesson for me. And really, really helped me realize that we can stay connected wherever we are. Right?
Amen.
Amen. Visit often. Okay. If your kids go super far, I understand that it's much harder. We are blessed. It took us 3 hours to get to Max. So I warned Seth, I said, there are going to be days where if Max okays it, I'm going to want to drive there, take him out for lunch and drive home. And Seth is like, oh, I expect that. Like, I expect you to ask for that. We only did it on his birthday, I think.
Yes, I think that was the only day that we randomly went up, took him out to lunch and came home, and you said, I'm going to drive 3 hours back and forth for a hug, which I totally understand. But it also helped that he came home, which I think we're going to talk about, is he came home on random weekends.
Yeah.
He didn't wait for just the big holiday breaks.
Well, and what's wonderful in college, it depends where your kid is. If your kid's far, that doesn't mean they can come home every break. But there were a lot of breaks. You know, September was really hard. I will say September was the hardest month. It was really hard getting through September to October break. That was probably the hardest hurdle. So I don't know what we're going to do about that this year. I'll probably handle it differently. Anyways, it was like 6 or 7 weeks. It was something huge of not seeing him. Like you send him away and then you don't see him for a long time. That didn't work for me. But then there was October break, Thanksgiving, winter break, February break. Like once you get through September, I was like, oh, it's so much better after September. And then if you have a month where there's no breaks, he's close enough that I could go see him or he could come home. So
yes, that definitely helped.
Definitely helps. So I will tell you that I will probably talk about this with other points, but I made it clear to Max that I will come get him anytime. So it's so funny. I'm going to have to tell my friend that she gave me excellent advice because there was a school social work job open. And I said to Seth, I should totally go for it. I would love working with kids. It would be so much fun. And my friend was like, please don't apply for that job. She's like, I want you to have flexible Fridays and Mondays, because what if on a Friday you want to go get Max? Do you know how many Fridays I left to go get Max? Sometimes without Seth. It was like, February break or whatever. I drove to get Max on a ton of Fridays. So it was really good advice now that we look back. Do you agree?
Yes, you wouldn't have been able to get it. He probably wouldn't have been able to come home as much because you weren't able to you wouldn't have been able to drop everything and go get him. And I could only go on dates that you had booked me in advance. Like there were a couple random Fridays he just decided to come home and I couldn't move what I had at work and you had to go get him without me.
Oh, and I'll move stuff. I mean, I don't care what I have. Like things like junior prom is a different situation, but I can get him before junior prom. But I will move whatever to go get him. I will cancel stuff. I will reschedule stuff. Oh, yes, Mama Bear will come anytime.
Yeah, your schedule's more flexible than mine.
So, well, the difference between Seth and I is like Seth will have like 12 things that he would have to reschedule. We don't want that for him.
Right. Moving 12 meetings in one day is a little challenging, especially if some of them are in person with physical people coming from places.
And I don't ever have 12 meetings in a day.
Yes, you do a better job at that than me.
Well, no, you have blessed me. Trust me, I was thinking about that today. I was like, you really need to thank Seth again. I watched a podcast, and I'm going to try not to cry. I'm very emotional lately. We won't talk about the time of the month, but y'all understand. So anyways, I was listening to a podcast today, and the daughter said to the mom, anything you would change if you could go back. And sorry. She said, I wish I could have been a stay-at-home mom.
Wow.
And she said, I wish that I would have figured out how to pull that off. And I was like, Seth and I figured it out. And, you know, there were years that I didn't work. And, you know, I'm like, you really need to thank Seth that he let you stay home. Because I was like, I'm staying home. And he was like, no, you're going back to work. And I was like, no, I'm staying home. Oh, my wonderful husband who always figures things out. So thank you, Seth. If our daughter said, if you could go back, what would you change? You know what I would say?
What?
Well, I wouldn't say nothing. I would show up a little bit differently for our kids, but I showed up. I showed
You did.
up.
And I appreciate that.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm the on-call mom. I learned that, okay, so when I was a therapist and I was a supervisor, I was on call. Do you remember that?
I do. The phone next to our bed.
So the on-call phone was next to our bed, and I would get phone calls in the middle of the night. It did happen. So I was having flashbacks of so now I'm very different with my phone. My phone is always with me. My phone is always with me. It is a very rare, like sometimes when I'm away from my phone, I twitch because I'm not with Max. You know, my kids will be at school, Seth is at work, Max is away. So I feel like I need to have my phone with me because, you know, I get calls all the time from all of them. So I feel like I'm back to being on call. Do you know that?
I didn't know you were phrasing it that way, but I did know that you felt like you needed to always be connected.
Well, I don't always have to be connected to Max. I just always want to be available. And
That's what I meant.
And I do need to remind Max, you know, he's been very lucky, knock on wood, he's been very lucky that when he's called, I have answered. But if I'm recording a podcast, I'm not going to answer. So right. I try to remind the girls and Max that there are times where I can't answer my phone, believe it or not.
Crazy.
I actually think it would be funny to answer during a podcast.
Please don't. It'd make it much harder to edit.
Okay. Your kid can handle it. Sit on your hands. So there are going to be issues. Your kid's going to go away, and it's not going to be roses and sunshine every day. Something might come up with a professor, a grade, a roommate, a friend. I mean, financial, office.
A love interest.
It's not going to be smooth sailing every day. And he would call us and tell us what was going on. He always values our opinion. He's very respectful and he asks a lot of questions. But there were times that he was like, this is my plan. This is what I'm going to do. I got this. I'm going to go handle it. And I was like, there was one time I was like, who do I need to call? And he was like, Mom, you're not emailing. You're not calling. I got this. Like, they can handle it. And us believing in them helps them handle it. I also want to say that I have 2 book clubs that were perfect for this year as far as support. 3 of my friends work at residential life at a college. And I could ask them any question and I could tell them any situation and I got professional feedback. And one of the things that my book club would say to me is, don't do anything. Don't do a thing. Let him do it. He's got this. I would sit on my hands. I would be like, I'm listening. I'd go back to book club and I'd be like, you're going to be so proud of me. I did nothing. I did nothing. Hi, how are you, Patty? It's so good to see you. Grace and greetings from New York. How is your weather? Is your weather cold like my weather? Seth, you and I joke that when I get on a podcast, like, I want to know where the person's from and what the weather is like. And you're like, I don't care.
Yes, I don't, that has nothing to do with what we're actually there to talk about, in my opinion.
Oh my gosh. So anyways, that brings me to, so I was saying I would go to book club and be so proud to announce to my friends that I didn't do anything and that Max handled it, right?
Yeah, that was awesome. I was impressed with you.
You need college mom friends and you need support, because going through it, it's about to be, oh, good. It's not nice here. Yup, thunderstorms. I know, you know what? Seth, Minka called and they were having thunderstorms in Virginia.
Yep.
So, boo to thunderstorms. So, you need college mom friends. The best supports were the friends who were going through it with me for the first time. Like if someone was sending a second or third kid, very different than sending your first kid away. So my mom friends, so thank you to my mom friends who were going through it with me, because it was so helpful and so supportive. And thank you to my special mom friends, well, my special college friends who work at school, who work at a college and helped me through the year. One of them, you know, I tell Kate she was my mentor, like through the year. So I think she did a good job, don't you?
Yes, she did.
And I also want to say that the friends who, the friends who already went through it, also so supportive, because they been there, done that. The college newsletter. So there's probably a college newsletter that I'm supposed to be reading. Is that what you're telling me? Because I didn't read a college newsletter. Did you, Seth?
Are you talking about the emails from Cornell?
Maybe.
Okay, then that is possible that you are not reading them.
Yes, I probably should be reading. I don't even know if I'm getting them.
You need to check your spam.
I need to check my spam. Yes, I do. Okay, let go. I'm going to tell you that while your child is home in high school, start the process. I started letting go before he left. Did you know that, Seth?
I heard, yes, we discussed that you were working on it, and each year you were trying to give him more responsibility and more autonomy.
I did tell Seth that my plan was to back off more and more. And it's like you give them more and more freedom and you see how they do with it. Are we getting them sent to the house, Seth?
We are not getting any newsletters physically mailed to us. But yes, Patty, he is in the college Instagram groups or mob, whatever.
Yes. So excellent advice. If your child is going off to college in the fall, if you don't know this, there are Facebook groups for your college. Thank you for mentioning that.
There are Facebook groups for for the parents of the college kids, not just for the college
and a bunch
itself.
Of groups. That is super helpful. Everybody asks questions. Everybody answers the questions. It is so helpful. Yes, I love the groups. Okay, so anyways, with letting go, it's like college rips the Band-Aid off. So you start letting go while they're home, and then they're at college, and then you don't have a choice. You're just letting go more and more. And how do you think that he did with that?
I think he did good.
I think that he came back better and more appreciative.
Yes, and certainly more mature.
Yes. My friend said she can't believe the difference in her kid in 1 year. It is amazing. they have so much responsibility. It's just the difference between, because I stayed home and Seth went away. And the difference between staying home and going away is huge with just the changes in your kid. Okay, I was prepared. Know that it's an adjustment period with bumps. It's not going to be smooth sailing. I just knew that I didn't expect every day to be great. And I listened to a college expert, another podcast that I listened to, and she said, don't expect every day to be great and don't make your kid feel bad. Like, we don't want to point out things that, I don't know, Seth, you explain it better.
You don't want to make them feel bad. You don't want to ask questions in such a way that make them go, oh, I wasn't thinking about that, but you're right, I haven't done that, and now I feel bad about that. We did have that conversation because you were expressing things that you wanted Max to do, and I was like, well, if he didn't feel bad about that, now he's gonna.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when we decided to have Sunday as a family phone call. Even if we spoke during the week, we made Sunday the family check-in. Seth, you did that too.
Yes, every Sunday from Syracuse University, I would call my parents right after dinner.
I love that. That's excellent advice. You are full of excellent advice today, Patty. Thank you so much. Love that. So have a designated day is what she's saying. So even if you're talking during the week, know that Sunday night is like a family phone call, a family check-in. I said to Max, oh, set your expectations. I said to Max before he left, I said, just an FYI, I'm not talking to you once a week. Like, I will freak out. I cannot talk to you once a week. We will be talking more than once a week. And I also said to him, you will probably get a text from me every day. My daughter graduated a few years ago. However, I used to want to call every day, but it was too much. I definitely did not. You know what? I have friends who talk to their daughters every day. Daughters are different, I feel like. They talk to their daughters multiple times a day, texting, phone calls. It's like you have to figure out what works for you and your kid. I certainly did not expect a phone call every day. I would text Max most days. Sometimes it was a 2-second exchange. Figure out what works for you and your kid. I do think that you should not expect a phone call every day, right? I expected a FaceTime once a week. I needed, which part is funny? So I expected a FaceTime phone call once a week. That was like my requirement. I needed to see his face, but I didn't expect a phone call every day.
No, but you wanted at least a text message or Life 360 monitoring confirming he was still alive every day.
So, I'm going to tell you about Life 360. I'm not the only mother who has said this. I had a friend who also said this to me. Life 360 probably got me through the first year of college. I can't tell you the comfort of the beep of Max moving. Now, Ella decided to tell me that somebody could steal his phone and be walking around with his phone.
Oh my God, that is not helpful.
Not helpful, Ella, but the beep of Max moving around.
Right, that if they're going to steal his phone, they're not going to go to his class schedule every day.
Or the gym.
Right.
Or the dining hall.
Right.
Yeah. So if his beep did not go off all day, that it was a red flag. So usually on a normal day, it would beep, 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 because he's going to class, he's going to the gym, he's going to the dining hall. It beeped the whole day. Now I was busy. I wasn't looking at my phone all day, but I knew Seth's at work, the girls are at school. Nobody else is beeping. It's Max moving all day. When he didn't move all day, he would get a phone call or a text message, like, what's going on? And most of the time, he didn't feel good. And I was like, okay, what doesn't feel good? What are you doing to take care of yourself? And most of the time, he just needed to sleep it off.
Yes.
I know. Just think. Go ahead. You want to read it?
Sure, Patty says, just think of what our parents went through when we had no cell phones. Right. I had a weekly phone call with my parents. That's what we had. There was no FaceTime. There was no cell. There was no text messaging. That's all they heard from me was once a week on that phone call.
And that was the norm back then. Like now, the kids have cell phones. The kids all have Life 360 on their phone. It's non-negotiable.
In our house.
We pay the phone bill. You have Life 360 and you keep it on.
Yes.
And we monitor where our kids are. Lily takes off with her friends and I can see where she's going. Now I want Lily to tell me we're going to this place, then we're going to this place, but we have Life 360. So Life 360 helped me through the first year of school, expectations, phone calls. And I also knew that some days I would be okay. I would be busy. I wouldn't even be thinking about it. And I knew there were going to be days where there were tears because I missed him. And I will tell you, the first 2 weeks I cried. Was it the first 2 weeks?
I didn't keep track of the exact day, but it was a time period.
I think I cried for the first 2 weeks. And my friend said to me, it's going to end after the 2 weeks. And I think it was towards the end of the 2 weeks. I think she cried for 2 weeks. And I really did feel better after the first 2 weeks. September was really hard.
Yeah.
And we survived without cell phones. It's true. We did. Guilty.
Okay.
I also want to know where they are and their adults, 27 and 31. Well, Ella said, when can I get off Life 360? And I said, never. I'm going to put the grandkids on. I'm going to put my parents on. I said to my mom, you should be on my Life 360.
Oh my God, your phone's never going to stop beeping.
Never. Oh my goodness. So anyways, I knew that there would be good days and bad days. And when I was having a bad day or like a sad day and I was missing him, I would either call him or text him or start a countdown of when I was going to see him next. And if it was way too far away, then I knew I needed a plan to go stop by and see him or bring him home. But the breaks helped. I feel like the breaks really helped. And having him close enough to go grab him really helped. Ella's not helping so much because she wants to go to schools farther away. So I don't know how I feel about that. I think I do know how I feel about that. We're going to see what happens with Ella.
You know exactly how you feel about that.
So Patty says 100 agreement to never. They will stay on my Life 360. I am sure there will be a day that they will take over paying for their phone and say, you're not paying anymore. And I'm going to say, stay on Life 360. So anyways, anything else to add to my lessons?
I think you did a great job covering what we've learned so far, and I can't wait to see what we learn next year.
I don't want to put you on the spot, and you can say pass, but do you have like your greatest lesson from this year that I said or that you felt on your own? I should have prepped you for this.
You should have.
You don't have to answer.
It's a really weird transition because in my head, and you might not agree with this and that's okay, but it was literally like you go from one day, like day before we went to take him to college, he lived with us. And literally 48 hours later, we came home and he wasn't there anymore. And I woke up the next morning and he technically he doesn't live there now. He's in Ithaca. So that was a challenging adjustment for me, going just the day-to-day life of, wait, he's not here was hard for me.
Yeah, huge adjustment, but we can do hard things. Our kids can do hard things. If your kid is going away to college, you can feel free to reach out to us. We just did this. We will give you our dorm list. We will answer any questions. We will give you support. We know it's hard. We just did it. And we're about to do it again because he's going back to work. So we're not keeping him for the summer. So we're just enjoying having him home. I'm going to be honest, he's not home a lot, which I will tell Seth details of when we get off of this. But it's not like he's home a lot, but it's still nice that I get to see him.
Yes.
Yes. So this Friday on the podcast is Dr. Tiffany Stanley. She is not only is she a psychotherapist, she is a sex therapist. And she talked all about couples and sex and why couples don't talk about sex and helped us with all the things. So it was really fascinating to me. I wish I could remember something to tell you from the episode we recorded way too long ago, unfortunately, but I know I absolutely loved her. I'm gonna have to listen to it because I don't even remember details of the conversation, but I know I loved her and I know she's great. So listen to the podcast. And Seth?
You know what? This week, go to the Apple Podcast app and subscribe to the Whinypaluza podcast, or go to the Google Play Store if you're an Android person and subscribe to the Whinypaluza podcast. Let's start there. Yes, we remember Dr. Ruth.
Yep. Patty, thank you for joining us and joining the conversation and being a graduated college mom and all the advice. And I hope you'll join us again. And Seth, thank you for joining me from not here. And have a wonderful week, everybody. And we will be back next week with a new topic.
Happy Whinypaluza Wednesday.
Thank you for tuning in to the Whinypaluza podcast. If you like what you heard, please be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. While you are there, leave a review. I love to hear your feedback. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.